You've watched so many motivational videos that you can almost predict the pattern. The slow piano begins. The voice gets deep and serious. A quote flashes across the screen about greatness or success or believing in yourself. And for a few minutes, you feel like you can change your life. You tell yourself this time will be different, that you'll take action, that this one video will finally light the spark. But as the music fades, the feeling disappears. You're left exactly where you started, sitting still, chasing the next dose of inspiration. That's what motivation has become. Not a tool for growth, but a temporary drug that gives you the illusion of progress. The truth is that motivation has turned into one of the most profitable industries in the world. There's an entire economy built around keeping you inspired and stuck at the same time. Every video, every speech, every course is designed to make you feel something, not to make you change. Because as long as you keep watching, they keep winning. Behind the scenes, it's all business. The gurus and life coaches know exactly what they're doing. They've learned how to engineer emotion, when to pause, when to drop the quote, when to add the dramatic music. They know you're not looking for logic, you're looking for a feeling. They sell that feeling back to you wrapped in cinematic music and fancy words. But feelings fade and the reality remains untouched. You can't watch your way into a better life. You can only act your way into one. Motivational creators have mastered the formula. They say, you can do anything. They say, you have unlimited potential. They repeat lines that sound empowering but mean nothing in practice. Because the goal isn't to help you, it's to keep you hooked. They're not trying to fix your problems. They're trying to keep you coming back for more. Each video becomes a short escape from real effort, a way to feel productive without doing anything. The real trap is subtle. You start believing that watching motivation is the same as self-improvement. You convince yourself that taking notes, planning, or listening to another talk counts as work. But it doesn't. Real growth happens off-screen in silence and discomfort when nobody is cheering you on. Growth doesn't sound like a speech. It feels like resistance. Every time you sit through another motivational montage, your brain gets a quick reward. You feel inspired, hopeful, alive for a few minutes. But that's the same mechanism as scrolling through social media. It's dopamine, not development. You get addicted to the chemical rush, not the actual results. That's why you can watch 10 motivational videos in a row and still feel empty. You're not lacking motivation. You're drowning in it. The harsh truth is that most people don't want change. They want the feeling of wanting to change. They want to believe that success is just one more quote away, one more speech, one more video. It's easier to stay in the dream than to face the discipline. Discipline is boring. It doesn't have music or applause. It's the quiet, repetitive grind that builds real skill. But that's what every motivational guru avoids talking about because it doesn't sell. Motivation speaks to the masses. Discipline speaks to the few. Motivation gives you excitement. Discipline gives you results. Motivation disappears when things get hard. Discipline grows stronger through difficulty. The people you admire didn't get there because they were constantly motivated. They got there because they acted even when they didn't feel like it. What the self-help industry won't tell you is that the most successful people in the world don't rely on motivation at all. They rely on structure, habits, and consistency. They've built systems that keep them moving forward even on days they don't feel inspired. Because inspiration is a luxury. Discipline is a necessity. You have to understand that motivation was never the enemy. The problem is dependence. The moment you depend on it, you lose control. You start waiting for permission to act, waiting to feel ready. But no one who's achieved anything great was ever fully ready. They started before the excitement, before the confidence, before the perfect timing. They simply began. And that's the part motivation never teaches you. When you look closely, the self-help world runs on repetition. The same phrases, the same promises, the same cinematic speeches. It all sounds new, but it's the same message recycled for decades. Believe, visualize, manifest, never give up. The formula works because it gives hope, not because it gives results. Hope feels good. Hope is easy to sell. But when hope becomes a habit, it becomes a trap. You see, the creators of motivational content aren't evil. Most of them started with good intentions. They wanted to help people feel less lost, to give them a spark. But somewhere along the line, the spark became the product. It's no longer about transformation. It's about engagement. Motivation became a brand. It's content designed to be shared, not lived.
It's cinematic storytelling without consequence.
And the algorithm rewards it. Not the truth, not the hard work, just the content that makes you feel something fast. That's why you see 1,000 videos saying the same thing in different voices. One says you can do it, another says never quit, another says believe in your dreams. The message is harmless, but the effect is hollow. It tricks your brain into thinking you're making progress simply because you agree with what you hear. You nod, you feel enlightened, you save the video, but your life doesn't change. Because consuming isn't the same as becoming. Motivation works like fast food for your mind. It gives you quick satisfaction but no nourishment. Real improvement is like cooking your own meal. Slow, tiring, repetitive, but healthy. You need patience. You need effort. And no one can hand that to you through a screen. The creators can inspire you to start, but they can't make you continue. That's your job. The real transformation starts when the video ends. When you turn off the sound and face the quiet. That silence is where growth happens. But it's uncomfortable, so you open another tab, watch another clip, and tell yourself you're learning. The truth is, you're not learning. You're escaping, because taking action means confronting failure, confusion, and self-doubt, and motivation never shows that part. It's easy to romanticize hard work in a 60-second reel. It's harder to live it for years with no applause. Real success isn't glamorous. It's thousands of unseen hours spent doing the same boring thing until you get good at it. That doesn't go viral. So the self-help world sells fantasy instead. They sell success energy, manifesting, morning routines, and mindset hacks. They turn improvement into entertainment. But improvement isn't entertainment. It's responsibility. It's accountability. It's doing the thing you said you'd do long after the motivation disappeared. And that's why so many people get lost. They mistake consumption for commitment. They think watching 20 videos equals taking 20 steps forward. But if motivation doesn't lead to movement, it's just noise. You don't need another speaker shouting that you're limitless. You need a reason to wake up and act when you don't feel like it. That reason comes from within, not from a YouTube clip. The people who actually change their lives rarely talk about motivation. They talk about systems. They talk about habits, deadlines, small daily wins. They understand that change happens inch by inch, not in emotional bursts. The irony is that the most motivated people are usually the ones who've stopped chasing motivation altogether. They've accepted that the feeling won't always be there, and that's okay. They keep moving anyway. That's the quiet power of consistency. It's invisible to most, but unstoppable to those who practice it. So, the question isn't how to stay motivated. The question is how to keep moving when you're not. Because that's where every dream either dies or turns real, in the gap between excitement and effort. Most people give up in that gap. The ones who make it learn to walk through it without waiting to feel ready. The truth is, motivation was never meant to be a lifestyle. It was meant to be a spark, something small that starts the fire, not the fire itself. But somewhere along the way, we started worshiping the spark. We started thinking that if we just found the right speech, the perfect quote, or the most powerful video, everything inside us would suddenly click. But that click never comes. Because real change doesn't happen in a moment of inspiration. It happens in thousands of moments of quiet struggle. The kind that no camera ever records and no speaker ever glorifies. The kind that looks boring, even meaningless, until one day it all makes sense. People love to say, stay motivated, but that's not how life works. You can't stay motivated forever. You'll wake up tired. You'll get discouraged. You'll feel lost. Motivation disappears because it's just emotions, and emotions change. What matters isn't how long you stay motivated. It's how well you act when you're not. That's the real secret no one wants to talk about, because it's not glamorous. It doesn't make for viral content. There's no epic music or perfect lighting for discipline. Just you and doing the same thing again and again, failing, learning, repeating. That's the raw reality that motivation videos skip. Every creator you see online showing success stories, the cars, the speeches, the studios, they all went through the boring parts too. But they don't show you that. They show the result, not the repetition, because the repetition doesn't sell. The repetition doesn't trend. That's why at Unhyped we talk about the other side, the part you don't see on your feed. The late nights when you want to quit. The days when everything feels pointless. The grind that happens after motivation dies out. Because that's the real growth phase. That's when you start becoming someone different. Not by believing more, but by doing more. You see, the comfort of motivation is that it keeps you dreaming. It lets you imagine being better without becoming better, and that's addictive. It's why you keep watching. Each video promises a shortcut, but in reality there are none. The shortcut is the long way. The quick fix is the slow grind. Motivation tells you to feel good about the future. Discipline teaches you to do good in the present. One gives you emotion, the other gives you evolution. And the choice is yours. Do you want to keep feeling inspired, or do you want to finally see results? You don't have to stop watching motivational content altogether. You just have to stop depending on it. Watch it, take the spark, and then move. Don't drown in the comfort of listening. Don't confuse inspiration with execution, because the real world doesn't care how motivated you feel. It responds only to what you do. Motivation fades, but momentum compounds. Every small action builds the next one. Every bit of consistency rewires your brain, and over time you stop waiting for the right moment. You realize this is the right moment. It always was. If you want to see your life change, stop watching people who talk about doing and start becoming someone who actually does. That's how you escape the trap. That's how you wake up from the endless cycle of motivational consumption and step into real progress. And that's what we stand for here. Unhyped isn't anti-dream, it's anti-illusion. We're not here to kill your drive. We're here to unmask what's been keeping you stuck. Because once you see the game, you stop being played by it. You've been told that success starts with belief, that if you just think positive, the universe will reward you. But belief alone doesn't build anything. It's the bridge between your mind and your effort. And without effort, that bridge leads nowhere. That's the quiet truth no motivational guru wants to say out loud. Because if they did, they'd lose half their audience overnight. People don't want to hear that change takes years. They want to believe it takes 30 days. They want a hack, not a habit. But let's be real for a second. Nothing great has ever come easy. Every success story you admire is built on invisible labor. The late nights, the failures, the sacrifices that nobody applauds. You can't buy that discipline. You can't stream it. You have to live it. The self-help industry sells you comfort disguised as growth. They give you emotional highs, but they don't teach emotional endurance. Because endurance doesn't sell, hope does. Hope is repeatable, profitable, infinite. But hope without action is hollow. And that's why so many people stay stuck. They chase feelings instead of building foundations. They chase motivation instead of creating momentum. They wait for a perfect moment that never comes. Here's the raw reality. You don't need to be inspired to move forward. You just need to start. You can be scared, unready, uncertain, and still move. Because progress doesn't care about your mood. It cares about your motion. Every day you show up even when you don't want to, you're training your mind to respect your own word. That's what real confidence looks like. Not shouting affirmations in the mirror, but quietly keeping promises to yourself. And when you do that long enough, something changes. You stop chasing the next motivational fix. You stop needing someone to tell you that you're capable. You already know it because you've proven it to yourself through action. That's when life starts to shift. Not in the highlight moments, but in the ordinary ones. The mornings when you get up early even though it's dark. The nights when you stay focused instead of distracted. The days when you choose discipline over comfort. That's where the real growth hides. The truth is, you don't need to kill motivation. You just need to stop worshiping it. Use it as a spark, not a lifestyle. Let it start your engine, but don't let it drive the car. Because the car is your action, your choices, your consistency. Every time you act, you move a step closer to becoming the person those videos keep talking about. The difference is, you'll actually be living it, not just watching it. So next time you feel that itch to watch one more motivational video, pause for a second. Ask yourself, do I need another reminder, or do I need to finally begin? Because the truth is, you already know enough. You've heard enough. You've been inspired enough. It's time to do something about it. And that's what Unhyped is about. Peeling away the noise, the hype, the emotional candy that's been keeping you comfortable. We're here to remind you that the real work doesn't start with motivation. It starts when motivation ends. So stop waiting, stop consuming, start building. Because the world doesn't reward those who dream. It rewards those who act. Somewhere between dreaming and doing. Most people stop. They pause right at the edge of effort, waiting for another spark, another speech, another sign. But nothing new is coming. You already have everything you need. The truth is, you don't need another dose of motivation. You need silence. You need time. You need action. Because motivation is a moment. Action is a habit. And habits shape your destiny. Every time you hit play on another life-changing video, remember this. The only thing that can actually change your life is you. It won't be easy. It's not meant to be. But that's what makes it real. That's what separates the watchers from the doers. That's what turns belief into results. You don't need the world to cheer you on. You just need to show up quietly, consistently, relentlessly. Let everyone else keep chasing hype. You build something real. This is Unhyped, where motivation ends and movement begins.